We're here to honor, really we're here about Shaarei Tzedek, but in particular Yael, who's a teacher to many of us, who's the most amazing wife, the most amazing mom, who's a mentor to young brides, to kalas, from all backgrounds and all parts of the Jewish community. And most of all, who's a friend, a listener. She's a woman who's non-judgmental. She's an Eshet Chayil, a woman of profound and deep substance. She's selfless to her husband, to her 7 kids, to our community, to Jews of all backgrounds and all stripes. Her dignity and her self-worth come from doing that which is correct in God's eyes. Isha yirat Hashem hiti talal. Not how others perceive her or what others think of her or will think of her. But ultimately, when she stands there alone like each and every one of us do, it's what God thinks of her. And to quote King David, the famous phrase from Kapitel Memhe, Psalm 45, Kol kvuda bat melech panima. The daughter of the king, the princess, the royal Jewish princess. Her dignity comes from an internal sense of self-worth, an internal sense of modesty, not someone who plays for the bleachers or the crowds, but ultimately has a real relationship with her God, her people, her homeland, and her community. And I want to thank her for nurturing our children, for nurturing me, for being the most amazing daughter to her mom, who's with her, thank God, here today, and to being a friend to all of us. The relationship that she has with Shaarei Tzedek and that we have is one of great, great gratitude. As German Jews, it was our ancestors who saw that the pioneers coming at the end of the 19th century and the early 20th century, trying to turn a barren wasteland and restore after 2 millennia the dream of the Jewish homeland, so that the Jewish homeland would not just be a phenomena of our prayers, but would become a reality. And Shaarei Tzedek today, like Yael and like Alice, are humble, good, decent Jews who only want to do good for Israel and for all of humanity. And Shaarei Tzedek is there for everyone. The cardiac unit, the trauma unit, the emergency unit, the Matloff unit. We had the great honor of sitting with Alice on the deck of Sam and Bertie Krieger as they introduced us to Dr. David Applebaum, Zichrono Livracha. Dr. Applebaum, who reflects what Shaarei Tzedek is all about, was the ultimate Jew. He was a scholar. He wrote works on Maimonides. And he transformed emergency medicine, not only for us, the Jewish people, but for the Muslims and Christians of Israel and for all of humanity. He was brought in by UCLA, by Cedars-Sinai, to explain and help them develop their emergency medical units. It's these humble, decent men and women of Shaarei Tzedek who are there to nurture not only the patient, but the families of the patients, no matter what their language, no matter what their background, their religion. That's the Jewish way. And I want to thank Sam and Bertie, who exposed us to Shaarei Tzedek. And I want to thank Alice and Lou. When I go to 300 North Swall, there are 3 pillars. You know that Judaism, the famous phrase from Pirkei Avot, from the Ethics of the Fathers, the 3 pillars of Judaism. Whenever I drive by 300 North Swall, I think of the 3 pillars of West Coast Shaarei Tzedek. Alice, Lou and Trudy, Aleha Shalom, and Sam and Bertie. And I want to thank you for exposing us to Paul Jesser, and to be able to partner with Paul Glasser, with Rachel, and the great team at Shaarei Tzedek. And please God, Shaarei Tzedek will continue to be an institution of chesed, of love, of warmth, and it will be a place that the Jewish people and all of humanity will turn to. And they'll say, that's what the Jews and that's what the state of Israel have to contribute to humanity. Alice, it's a pleasure to be partnering with you and to be honoring you. You are a great woman, a great Zionist, a great Jew, and a great friend of all who love Israel. And it's an honor for Yael and for me to be associated with you and with Shaarei Tzedek. Mazel Tov, a happy Yom Ha'atzmaut, and God bless Shaarei Tzedek.
I don't know if I've heard that many nice words from my husband at one time ever. If nothing else, I have to thank Shaarei Tzedek for giving me the opportunity. I hope someone caught that on video. But thank you, my dear, and thank you for flying in from Israel.
For showing up.
For showing up. They mentioned that he just got off the flight this morning. What they didn't mention is that he's getting on another flight tonight to go back to New York. So this really was a real honor for me that he was able to be here. I don't want to be redundant. I know everyone has a busy afternoon and things they have to get to, so let me just coattail in so many ways on Mrs. Schoenfeld's remarks. First of all, I'm thanking everybody who's responsible for putting today's event together. Both Pauls, who are becoming very favorite people of our family, to the entire staff at Shaarei Tzedek, and especially to our cousin Rachel, who it's always such a treat. It's always such a treat when Shaarei Tzedek has an LA event that we can get to see her. And also to all of the co-chairs of today's event. Really, it's just very, very meaningful and special to us that you took the time out of your schedules to do this. When I was trying to think of what to say, as very often is the case, I turned to Tanakh, I turned to our sources, and I came across a midrash that I don't know if the founding fathers of Shaarei Tzedek had ever read this midrash before they decided on the name of this medical center. If they didn't, they were certainly prophetic in the title that they chose and the name that they gave. And I'd like to share that with you today. It's very short. It's quoting the pasuk that we actually read this morning, saying the Hallel in honor of Yom HaAtzmaut, Pitchu li Shaarei Tzedek, open for me the gates of righteousness. And the Midrash comments, when one gets to the next world, when we reach Olam Haba, a person's going to be asked, Meh hayata melachtacha, what good work were you involved in this world? And if that person would say, I fed the hungry people, I was involved in that kind of charity work, then they'll say to him, Zeh hasha'ar shel ma'achil re'evim. That is the gate that people who fed the hungry people should enter. And he should go into that gate. And then another one will respond, I quench the thirst of people who are thirsty. And again, they will tell him, there's the gate for that kind of charity work, and that is the gate that you should enter. And then another one will say, I gave clothing to those who were needy, to those who couldn't afford it. And they will show him his gate in which he should enter. Another one will say, I took care of orphans, I raised orphans, I gave charity, and all other forms of chesed that one could do. Each one of those activities and involvements has their own portal of entry into the next world. But along comes King David, the author of the Hallel, the author of this verse, Pitchu li Shaarei Tzedek. And David says, Ani asiti et kulam. He was in a unique position. As the leader, as the king of the Jewish people, he took care of everybody in every way, shape, and form possible. So which gate should he enter? He's done it all. And that is when he comes to the conclusion and he says, Pitchu li Shaarei Tzedek. Open for me the gates of righteousness. It is the portal of entry for every kind of good and chesed that can be done in this world. And as we see what Shaarei Tzedek has been built and has been developed into, and every kind of person, every representative of humanity that walks through its doors, every corner of the earth where there's a disaster, where Shaarei Tzedek sends their teams to take care of, it is the portal of entry, truly, for everything good in this world, every kind of chesed we can imagine. And I really just want to thank everyone so much for being here and for supporting that and for walking with Mrs. Schoenfeld and myself through those Shaarei Tzedek, through that portal of entry, and for supporting something that does so much good for this world. Thank you.